So hearing what Aditi had to say about Dillon Gabriel, because obviously the context part bothered her. What people are saying on the internet bothered her. And I got to admit, like there were some people even going, well, your own network put it. I go, Diti's CBS and News 5 now. She is not NFL Network anymore. Hasn't been for 2-3 years now. So the NFL putting it out, yeah, the NFL wants clicks just as much as anybody. The NFL wants reactions just as much as anybody. They are entertainers. They're in pro football is an entertainment business. I know guys stay up 20 hours a day working on game plans, this, that, and the other. It's an entertainment business. It's meant for us to be entertained by. And Dillon Gabriel, whether he likes it or not, when he says he is in the business of competing and not entertaining, I mean, you're part of the entertainment, whether you like it or not. And people are going to interpret that any way they possibly want. And there's been plenty of people who have interpreted that as a shot at Shedeur Sanders. You said you were surprised that wasn't my first initial thought. I just don't think, and if you want to call me naive, you go right on ahead. I don't think a guy who has been as buttoned up, quiet about this quarterback controversy or about this quarterback competition, try not to turn it into a controversy, about this quarterback competition would just do halftime during a preseason game to finally take a shot at Shedeur Sanders publicly. I just didn't believe it then. I certainly don't believe it now. So that wasn't my original thought. So you had said, you and several others at the feast, when you saw those comments, you went, oh boy.
Yeah, before we saw the full exchange. And then once we saw the full exchange, it obviously changed things. Well, just because, I mean, come on. We have never seen a situation like this where you have two guys battling, but yet they're not battling for the starting job. But yet there is more recognition of this competition than there are some other starting jobs. It's bizarre. And then one guy has, all these roots in reality shows and national media paying attention to the likes we haven't really seen maybe since Tim Tebow. And that guy was a first-round pick. Like any other guy has just been deplorable by almost everybody's standards that's watched camp every day. And finally, he gets a chance to perform, does some really good things, did some bad things too, but did some really, really nice things. I thought made some very impressive third down throws. I thought were nails on some of those tosses.
What I didn't think of it is like I thought Dillon Gabriel played well. And hey, we do Super Bowl, Super Browns sometimes out of spite, sometimes out of happiness, sometimes because it's the only good thing we can say about the football team. I mean, Super Bowl, Super Browns said for everything. I know that some people across the river might be worked into a shoot over, but I don't care about that. I thought he played well enough, but I didn't think he was all of a sudden puffing out his chest. Like you guys all thought I was going to be terrible. You guys all wanted to make a big thing about this 5th round guy. So I'm going to take shots at him. Over 143 yards and a pick 6 and a fumble. If we're going to do that, I thought he made some very nice throws. But I didn't think that Dillon Gabriel would be picking that time while they're still teammates. If he even felt that way, I don't know how he feels about Shedeur Sanders, but even if he did feel that way, you're not going to pick halftime of a preseason game or a sideline interview of preseason game number 2 to take shots at another guy on your own football team. That's insane. I don't understand how I was the only one living in some common sense at that point on Saturday afternoon.
But you couldn't understand when, he has the most exciting time possibly of his life. He gets drafted by an NFL team in the 3rd round when projections had him 4th, 5th, man, some even worse than that. He gets drafted in the 3rd round, thinks, all right, now I know what needs to be done. I'm in a situation where they don't really have a starting quarterback. Maybe I have a chance to actually earn the starting job. And then they pick Shedeur Sanders. He's had to deal with the Shedeur stuff over the last year. Not just every quarterback has. These guys, I think, have all been wondering, why is Colorado getting all the buzz? We're the team that's ranked near the top or number 1. Well, why are they getting talked about? I'm the guy putting up these numbers. I have a win against Ohio State. Like, you can imagine throughout the season, what that was like for a lot of guys, including Dillon Gabriel. And then to be confronted with it, and let's be honest, he's being confronted with not just Shedeur. He's being confronted with his fan base. Look how his fan base seizes hold of every opportunity. And he's got to be thinking, man, if I would have been drafted just anywhere else, in
and
any other situation,
maybe that's
I
possible.
wouldn't have had to deal
But
with these crazies that are flocking out of nowhere. They don't care about the Browns. They just care about Shedeur.
Even if he thought that way, an interview in a preseason game during the game is not the time to shoot your shot. And I would hope, as a guy who's played for 2 of 3 big programs, I mean, Oklahoma and Oregon, no offense to UCF, they're different beings. They're different beings. You're trained in the media to not do that stupid stuff. And that would be incredibly stupid. And why I think that this is a much bigger deal in people's keyboards than it is in real life, I don't know, Tone. I had to go do volunteer work on Saturday. And I'm standing there at our booth over at, I made it sound like I was Mother Teresa over there, didn't I? Either that or I was doing community service. Either or. But I'm standing there at this event in Streetsboro. Plenty of Browns fans. What'd you think of Dillon? What'd you think of Dillon? What'd you think of Dillon? What'd you think of nobody? And there were running the gamut of teenagers all the way up to elderly senior citizens. What did you think of Dillon Gabriel? Nobody said a word about his comments. Nobody. So I think it's a much bigger deal in our world on the internet and to the people on the internet than it ever is in real life.
It was huge online. It was absolutely huge online.
But I think the general Browns fan, I don't think the general Browns fan noticed or cared or thinks that Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, one hates the other or they hate each other. I don't think either of them think that way. That's why I didn't respond. I didn't think about it. I didn't think it was a big deal then, and I'm trying not to think it's a big deal now. And Aditi with the context, I saw the quote. Aditi with the context is trying to say it's not that damn big of a deal, or at least he's not going after Shedeur Sanders.
Well, just the wording. The wording was so perfect for people who didn't have the context to confuse it. It couldn't have been mapped out any better than to say entertainers versus competitors. That's a perfect storm. That is the absolute perfect assembly of words to get people to pit these quarterbacks against each other when we haven't seen any evidence of them have any kind of hatred for each other. I would even argue to say, like, I don't even think there's been, like, normally when there's a competition, you see guys like we saw that with like Hoyer and Manziel.
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious. The people that were covering the team at the time, they're like, these guys do not like each other. They do not really care for each other right now. And maybe it was just a situation
if you were
more
Brian
than anything.
Hoyer, why would you? Because I'll tell you what, at least these guys seem to be taking it seriously, but I don't want to dust that off again. Was it a shot at Shedeur Sanders? I didn't think it was. Audio courtesy of News 5 at the beginning there. I didn't think it was. That's what you guys want to talk about. I mean, Isaiah Bond is signed. Okay.
Guaranteed money, by the way.
Dan Orlovsky says,
report.
it's guaranteed 3 years at $3 million. So that can be a leading sentence in this town. Dan Orlovsky was speaking about Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur. We'll get to that at another time because now I know what you guys want to ask. I don't think it would. I just don't think he'd be that dumb. No. When was the interview? Second half.
Yeah, like three or 4 minutes left.
Second
in the third
half
quarter.
of the preseason. Listen,
but for him, it was the game was
this
over.
Guy,
right?
Game was
why
over
would you say such a stupid thing then? I don't believe he'd be that stupid. Because that would mean he's smelling himself after the first half of the second preseason game. No. If that's the case, then he's guilty of everything all you guys accuse Shedeur of being. There's no way.
So you're saying he didn't have this thought until he had a good performance against the Philadelphia Eagles?
Even if he did, you don't say it after a first half performance against the Philadelphia Eagles in the second preseason game. Why on earth would you say that? If they had beat, who was the quarterback who did the "we're back" when Texas won? Then they won the Big 12 one year and they did the "we're back" and then they went out and sucked again. At least you could say after a bowl game or after a Big 12 championship or something like, hey, they had just won a league championship or a bowl game. They were really excited about themselves. Okay, this is a second preseason game. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe he'd be that stupid. I don't believe he'd be that arrogant. No, because it's dumb. It's dumb to think that after the second preseason game in the first place. You could be frustrated with what everybody's saying with Shedeur.
You do believe he could have that chip on his shoulder.
He could have a chip on his shoulder.
Anything in the world.
I don't know the guy personally. He could have that chip on his shoulder. But you wouldn't say that after the second preseason game. There's no way. Speak softly. Carry big sticks. There's no way he meant it like that. I don't believe it. I don't want, and I will tell you this, Owen. I know we're going to get to him. I don't want to believe it. Because I don't want to believe.
Yeah, that makes it harder to believe if you don't want to.
I don't want to believe he'd be that dumb.
Open up your eyes and open up your ears.
Because I can't believe he'd be that dumb. There's no way he's that stupid.
It's the perfect combination of words, though, to make you think that he's taking a shot. There could have been no outside of him saying, "I hate Shedeur Sanders and I'm sick of this competition."
And then what better way to cover it up than go, "Oh, I was talking about you guys."
Yeah, it's not about the media.
You guys are all in this room talking about you.
It was set up perfectly. Now, maybe he does find Dale Ryder to be very entertaining. Maybe he does find Zach Jackson to be very entertaining. Maybe he does find Cam Justice. We're doing the
Cam Justice.
Cam Justice.
Cam Justice.
Yeah, pretty entertaining.
Trenton, Fort Worth, Texas. He's listening on the free Odyssey app.
Hello. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey, listen, I listened to your show. Never heard of you guys, but you know what? Now I listen to you guys every day, and it's mostly because of Shedeur. But even if he gets traded one day, I'll still listen to you guys.
Well, thank you, Trent.
See, the Baker people left us. I'm glad you're committing.
Oh, they left us. They left us like crazy,
and
now they're tweeting me nasty things.
Look, here's my opinion on this. Look, everyone's talking about, oh, poor Dillon. He has pressure. What about the pressure on Shedeur every single day because of who he is? The kid does nothing either. But I will tell you this. I thought Dillon said something before in the press conference stating that, it's a result-based business. And I kind of read in that a little bit. Look, I believe he said it, and it was a shot, and here's why. He's been given everything like a first-round pick. And now here comes this guy in the fifth round who really isn't a fifth-rounder, and now he's got pressure. But he's been handed everything and has not taken advantage of it. So he had a decent game. But that was a shot. I've been watching sports my whole life, listen to you guys my whole life, and now I never heard anyone call you guys entertainers. We all know where it was. I know you don't want to believe it, but it was a shot, and I tell you why it was a shot. He's probably frustrated.
When people
my wife, my sister, they don't think I'm entertaining.
When people call me a clown or something like that, I go, absolutely. I'm here just for your entertainment. Like I'm not even making self-deprecating jokes here, Trent.
Sports
I just
talk radio host and the guys in the pit after the game are two different things too.
Well, that's okay. That's true. And he might just I'm sure a guy like him just loops us all together. None of us are different from the other one. Daryl, who writes stories, and Chris Easterling and Mary Kay, we're just all the same to a guy like him. That's why, I'm sorry, Trent, I just don't want to believe it, because if you went 13-18 in the first half of a preseason game, I almost cussed. To do that, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. It's just, I don't think he'd be that stupid.
But what if it came out of Shedeur's mouth? Can you imagine?
Why would he say it, though?
That's the point, though. I think Dillon's saying it out of frustration. He's been pretty much handed everything like a first-rounder, guys. And Shedeur been playing him in camp. And this game, some say Shedeur had a better game, but the frustration has to build. He's the odd man out, and he was drafted higher, even though we could say whatever. And now he's handed everything, first-round reps right out the gate. But here comes Shedeur. This guy can actually play, and he's up against that. His size comments. He hears all this, so it was frustration. I really think so.
All right, Trent, thank you very much for the call.
Do you think he's been handed? I don't know. I mean,
Trent just said the exact same thing Daryl was saying last week, but almost word for word.
But he's not getting the starting opportunity. He's not really competing.
Been hurt. He's getting first team reps.
He's getting first team reps. He's been hurt.
But you think Dillon Gabriel had a chance to start week 1 for the Browns? You really think so?
That's the way Daryl was talking about it. Bring Daryl back on.
I did not ever. I did not think that. And Joe Flacco.
I did not think that. Me personally, no.
But if there was something that, catastrophic happened to Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, who was starting? If it came down to Wednesday and we got to play the game on Sunday and somehow Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett are both gone, who's starting?
Yeah, probably Dillon.
It was Dillon because he's getting the reps.
Nelson, the same name as George Washington's horse. He is next up on the Fan from Avon Lake. Hello, Nelson.
Love it. Jen, I agree with you, man. Come on. This is a reach. Seriously? Are we doing this? Are we really doing this? Man, poor choice of words? Maybe. maybe. But why would he take a shot at Shador, man? Why?
Why would you take a shot at a guy you're in the locker room with who's probably not? I mean, again, if you ask me, not you, Nelson, but like Lima, you asked me, okay, what's your depth chart? And I go, well, Kevin says it's going to be unrealistic. Wasn't that the quote? Didn't he say unrealistic to keep 4? So if you're saying unrealistic, it's like, well, I'm going to keep the 2 pups, and I'd probably just get rid of Kenny Pickett. Okay, yeah, he says it's not realistic to keep 4 quarterbacks. So if the guy's going to be your teammate, you're going to say that about your own teammate?
Yeah,
there's no way.
I'm not buying it. And listen, let's be honest, right? Like, there's a segment of you all that could be considered entertainers. I mean, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not all of you, but I'm not going to put Mary Kay in that or Daryl, right?
But I think he just sees us all as the same thing.
For sure, man.
Thank
but
you.
yeah, I agree with you, Ken, man. I don't buy it, man. All right, guys. Bye.
Nelson, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the call. We love you too,
like
I'm sure.
He thinks Skip Bayless is the same guy writing the stories as is the same guy. And or Stephen A. is out there writing.
It is not any bit questionable to think that they all see us as the enemy and all treat us all the same way. Like I am. Yeah, I will full on admit I am a carnival barker and a loud mouth, and I'm here for your entertainment, and that's what I'm here for. And Lima is the journalist here. He's the one who actually covered the State House before. So if you wants to call me a clown or an entertainer, fine, you go right on ahead. I'll sleep perfectly fine at night. But if you're sitting there saying these things, if he meant that at Shador Sanders, okay, then we have a bigger problem than any of us had ever thought.
By the way,
because if you're doing that in the first half and that's what you think is a good, I'm going to go ahead and talk trash performance, but meaning a guy who's your own teammate, this guy's going to be a clown. He's going to be a bigger clown than any of us put together. If that's what he thinks, because I thought it was a good performance. You don't say that stupid stuff right after that. You don't do that in a preseason game. There's no way. So I just don't believe he'd be that stupid. I give him more benefit of the doubt than that. Yes.
Should I go back to my State House roots and find out why ODOT hasn't signed off on the stadium yet? Wait, kind of missed that one. What the hell happened?
Listen, we had a preseason game.
58 feet, 58 feet.
We're gonna move.
Did they not have those measurements?
We're gonna move on. Robert,
60-foot tape measure.
Robert in Parma. You're next up on the Fan. Hello, Robert.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Listen, Lima said it perfectly before. This was the best set of words that Gabriel could have used to call out Sanders. It could not have been any more perfect. He was talking to Dan Lanning. He's had this in his mind that Shadur's the entertainer. He's the competitor. He was the higher pick.
But he didn't play for Dan Lanning during that 2023 game. He played for Oklahoma.
Ken, I think it was earlier. You don't think he talked to him at all, even on draft day? And said, why the heck did they take another quarterback?
They couldn't have been happy. I guarantee they could not have been happy.
Of course they weren't happy, but why is Dan Lanning texting him and putting ideas in his head then? Why are we doing all that?
Why is he randomly calling out the media in the middle of a game?
I would imagine.
Why would he randomly that's fine if he gave the cover up later because someone pulled him aside from PR and said, dude, you got to walk that back. Fine. But why is he doing that in the middle of a game? And what beef does he have with the media thus far?
Listen, I'm not going to rip you for it,
Well, he might have a beef with some of the media.
But I think that he would
very
have
harsh on
Daryl Ryder's comments again.
I mean, we all have beef with Daryl.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Hey, Robert, thank you very much for the call. Okay. So you might have thought, hold on. If you thought it was it's perfectly plausible it was at us. We've talked nonstop Shador in the media. He's been arguably the biggest national story day to day.
The royal us.
Yes, the royal us. The all media. All media. Think about the things that have been said. And here he hasn't really had a chance to play. And anytime he has practice, look at the clippings. They don't make clippings anymore, but look at the blurbs. Google. Before that game, it was all bad stuff. Like, why did they even take him? Wasted third-round pick. Could they cut him? What's his purpose of even being here? That was all said. I just don't believe you'd be a 20. How old is he? 24. He's played forever. So he's played 6 years. How could you be